This MOC is called Victory in Death. It is named after the Season 7 episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars that it is based on, which happens to be the last episode of the show. And in this MOC, we see two sides of the story. We see Ahsoka leaving her Jedi past behind after burying the clone troopers that had turned on her in Order 66, along with Captain Rex. And then on the other side, we have Darth Vader, post-transformation into the cyborg Darth Vader that we all know, finding Ahsoka's lightsaber and the clones that had been killed in the crash of the Venator. And we see, the entire strength of the Imperial Army with the probe droid, the snowtroopers, and the stormtrooper. This MOC, as I said, is called Victory in Death. It was built as my Q1 build challenge for the Steel City LEGO Users Group. That is a local LEGO Users Group in the Pittsburgh area. And every quarter we have a meeting, and we have a challenge to go along with it, and Q1 was Star Wars, in honor of the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. And I wanted to build something for this, and I wasn't quite sure what, and I figured it'd be a diorama. I had two in mind, and I happen to have the minifigs available for this one, the Darth Vader, the Ahsoka minifigs, and the Stormtrooper. And so I thought, okay, well, let's start planning this out. So I went into LEGO Studio, where I do all my build information at, or all my build tests and MOCs, diagrams. That way I know what pieces I need to buy, because I don't have a large inventory of surplus items. And so I did that, and I happened to be at Sam's Club one day, and they had the Ahsoka 332nd Battle Pack, very cheap. It was like $12, and I bought one, and I went home, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I can use these. I'm definitely going to do the Victory in Death MOC. I need more. So I ended up buying 3 or 4 more packs, and the worst part is that for the most part, I was only using the helmets. So right now I have a whole bunch of spare clone troopers without helmets on behind me in storage. So I might find some kind of mess hall or something that I can mock out and use the clones without the helmets on. There were really 3 challenges I faced when making this MOC. The first being the scaling, and the scale is definitely incorrect, but I didn't want to build an entire front end of a Venator, crashed Venator in this case. I just wanted it to be visible enough to get the point across of where they were. So that's why I opted for a rather flat, but extending out of the back of the diorama. The second thing that I had trouble with, also relating to scale, was the Imperial probe droid. I wanted something that would look probe droid-ish without being a copy of something that the LEGO group had already done, or something I had seen in another MOC. I wanted it to be completely my own, which is how I ended up with the probe droid as I did. And then the third challenge I faced was getting the texture correct. And by that I mean, in the Darth Vader side of this, you have snow. It was winter in the series, in the show itself. And so, snow is light, powdery. And so I decided I would tile the entire base of the diorama, and then I would add something on top of it. And I went back and forth. I tried round 1x1 tiles, I tried round 1x1 plates, and I ended up with the 1x1x30 cheese slope, cheese wedge, as we call them. But I didn't want to leave the Ahsoka side of this to also be just flat without anything. And I was thinking about it, and it's like, okay, well, this vehicle had just plummeted into the ground. I'm sure it would have stirred up all kinds of dust and dirt and had it rain back down. So I decided to do the same thing on that side with the cheese wedge pieces, the 1x1x30 slopes. And there's 150 of each on both sides there. And on the snow side, I should have bumped that to about 175, 200, just because there's less surface area taken up by the graves, because I have those for the most part on the Ahsoka side. While I did most of the mock-up for this in LEGO Studio, I did use some non-LEGO Studio things, like actual physical pieces. They weren't the right colors, they weren't the right minifigs, but it worked. You know, I was able to see spatially where things would be. And so I'd have like an old Draco Malfoy standing in for Ahsoka. I'd have just some random minifigs standing in for Darth Vader. So that was always an interesting change of pace, if you will. So that's one thing that Studio doesn't do as well, in my opinion, is just the minifigs. They don't have a lot of the models, the molds. They have some basic ones, so you can always kind of spatialize it. But it helped me to see that physically, and that's why I ended up doing that. And then for the diorama base, most of the dioramas that I had done were just 3 8x16s wide. And this one's 4, and I did it so I could evenly distribute it half and half. And you can tell right down the center line where that is in the mock, because the graves, there's one section of the back section of graves that has a white mound on it, and that's right at the center line. That's where the snow starts. That's where Vader's side starts. So I was making it even between the two, because the show made it fairly even. I mean, it was the end of Ahsoka, the beginning of Vader and the Empire, and the end of what I would call the Ahsoka-Anakin duo. If you like this mock, be sure to check out my website. I'll have links for that down below. Thank you for watching this video. I will hopefully have more of these in the near future for other mocks, and until then, keep on building.